right, guys. Voting is now open for the most popular and biggest new breeder segment in the fucking hobby. What's up, everybody? Um, you could see, you could vote now at snakesandthefatman.com/15 minutes. The link is also in the description, just in case you guys didn't get the little slash joke. Let's just see who's here right now. Beauty and the Balls, they are a contestant on this year's 15 Minutes of Lane contest. Acacia Balls first. Oh, you just missed it. You just missed it. Acacia's going to be on Fat Man Live on Sunday, December 10th. We're going to knock that out. That's going to be the last episode of the year on that one. Shauna Corner, what's going on, babe? Logan, fucking, what's up, Logan? You're new here, I think. Merlin's Magic Morphs. Crystal, what's going on, Crystal? Jeremy was a contestant in the very first 15 Minutes of Lame contest, and he came in, I think he came in like third, but fucking Bud's Exotic Reptiles is fucking just a household name nowadays. Let's see. And Anima Mundi. That's a kind of a cool name. What's up, Jason? Look, my guests are here. Leviathan Snakes. Fucking nice. Steven had some camera trouble a minute ago, so we're glad we fixed that out. Morphic Exotics. Fucking my boy. Fucking he was here for about 3 hours today signing posters that we're going to give away because he was in the 15 Minutes of Ball Python documentary as well. Paul from Large Marge Morphs. What's going on, Paul? He's a contestant this year. Balls and Strikes. Troy is a contestant. Nixon Reptiles. They're a contestant. Danny and Michelle. Danny and Renee Rocha. They're a fucking they're a contestant this year. They're just killing it. Jen Kate was a contestant last year, I believe, 2 years ago. Maybe last year? I don't remember. It all kind of flows now. Dick, what's up, brother? How are you, sir? This is a monumental occasion. I agree with you there. Let's see. Fucking Nick, thank you for coming. Shane, first season, 15 Minutes of Lane winner. Okay, everybody knows Small Town Exotics. Let's see. J&S. James, what's up, brother? How are you, sir? Jake Hole. There's my boy. Fucking Jake Hole, also a contestant in this year's 15 Minutes of Lane contest. Let me just run through here a little bit. Fucking, Keep Kane. Well, you know, I mean, they can't all be home runs, right? Arvin, Game of Odds. He's fucking knocking shit out. Steve Casino. Steve Casino needs no introduction. Uptown Exotics. There's a lot of people here tonight. Let's see here. Brendan, what's going on, Brendan? Let's see. JNS. James. Yeah, he's here. Fucking there's fucking a lot of people here. Look, if I missed your name, I'm sorry. Mike from Herb Collectors, what's up? Fucking Acacia proving that she's not just in here to say first and she's actually staying for the whole thing. Let's see. Heathen Hatchery. Heathen Hatchery was one of last year's contestants who killed it on the fucking reels, man. Crystal Crabtree, VIP Morphs, Canada. They're in the competition. 403 Fauna. Fucking my girl Shannon. What's going on, Shannon? There's a lot of people here. Fuck. Herpin Harbins. Alicia. Fucking how nice to see you here again. I haven't seen you since Tennessee. So thanks for coming. Alan. AJH. Ray. Gray Rider. What's up, brother? How you doing, Charlie? Let's see. And then we're gonna end it with Gray Rider. Okay. Anyway, this is fun. 73 people here. It's the most people I've ever had on a fucking live. I'm gonna bring in Steven.
What's going on?
Last year's winner, or half of last year's winner of the 15 Minutes of Lane contest. Leviathan Snakes. Everybody knows Leviathan Snakes. Looking, how are you, sir?
I'm doing awesome. It is the newest season of 15 Minutes of Lame, and I'm so freaking stoked.
It's fun, man. There's a lot of people already doing reels. Now, I do want to say one quick thing, okay?
Mhm.
Apparently, some of the contestants were eager and jumped the gun a little bit this morning. Okay? And one of the things that the 15 Minutes of Lame winner has to know and has to do is pay attention to detail, right? Like, I mean, I don't think I could have said voting starts at 8 o'clock more than the last 2 weeks. Yet people were just coming in saying voting's opening now. So what we did, there was about 280 votes so far, and I just reset the fucking thing. So if you voted today, you have to fucking revote, because last year, I don't know if you remember, but between Jana and Reggie, it was under 200 votes that decided that Jana won. So
Mhm.
I didn't want to give people that extra 200 just in case,
Yep.
So everything is started over. Again, you guys could vote right now at snakesthefatman.com/15 minutes.
I love the
And,
slash.
yeah. I just figured it was an old Conan joke, but I know that most people don't remember Conan. I mean, most people under 30 don't even know who he is. So, so we are going to be premiering 15 Minutes of Lame, a ball python, or 15 minutes ball python documentary right after this show. Okay. Now we're going to simulcast it on both this channel or Steven's channel. We really don't care whose channel you watch it on. We just want people to watch it, right? I mean,
Yep,
would that be
100%.
fair to say?
Oh yeah. What I would say is, if you have multiple devices, like if you're going to watch it on like your TV, if you watch it on one, just open it up, put it on mute on the other, so that way both of us get the views for it. So that way we have the best chance of YouTube's algorithm picking it up on at least one of ours. But yeah.
Right. Yeah, and maybe it'll go viral. The amount of work that you put into this, I think I can't wait for everybody to see. Okay. And what we're gonna do is we made 100 DVDs and posters. Okay. And we're gonna give them away to 10 random people tonight who are on the live. Now, also, Steven wants to give out a few more of them.
Yep.
How could they do it?
Okay.
You set something up today.
Yep. So if anybody's seen the Instagram post, you've already heard this, but if you are watching the premiere live, all you have to do is just leave at least one comment in the chat. But realistically, the more active you are, the more likely we're going to see your name, and we're going to randomly pick people that way. So that's one way. Another way that you can do it is while you're watching the live tonight, if you can take a picture of you, your family, just watching the live at any point, or the premiere at any point, and post it on your story or a post on Instagram, and then tag Chris and us. That will be another way that you can get one of the signed posters, which you can see here that Chris has up right now. And it's going to be signed from everybody who is part of the documentary, as well as one of the collectible DVDs. And then the last way is, if you send us video proof that you can beat up at least 5 fourth graders, you can also get a signed poster.
5 is a lot.
Yeah, I mean, that's what Courtney says that she can take, so you got to be better than Courtney.
Yeah, Courtney cannot take 5. Yeah, we talked about this last night at a link to the mic. Now, we obviously know that you're not going to watch the DVD, okay? We know it's a collector's thing, all right?
Mm-hmm.
You could frame the poster. You're gonna have Justin's fucking signature on there. I know a lot of you fucking ass kissers would do that, because he won't even approach the guy, at a show. So we're gonna have Justin sign it, Courtney and Steven signed it, I signed it, Brian signed it, Donato signed it, Antoine is gonna sign it, Shane signed it. So everybody that was in the movie.
And
shout
out to Brittany Gobble for doing the photography for it. She's signing.
Yeah. Brittany Gobble did the photography for it, just as a favor to us. So we appreciate it, and we only got 100 to give away. Now, I will say this: with all the shipping of the posters, the corners are getting a little fucked up, right? So it's really not our fault, okay? But it's I figure if you put it in a frame, throw a mat on it, and the fucking frame won't matter, okay? So or the fucked up edges won't matter. But yeah, we're excited about this, and we just figure we want to just give away people. And listen, we'll pay the shipping,
Oh, yeah.
okay? Don't even worry about any of that shit. So we'll just take care of that, and we'll get that out to you as soon as the posters are all signed and the DVD comes in. Now, speaking of all the people that were in the movie, this was a fucking giant undertaking.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So why don't you just tell people a little bit about it from inception to final film that they'll see tonight?
Yeah, so most people I would say who are watching this, like, were watching last year's 15 Minutes of Lame competition. So during last year, 2022, 15 Minutes of Lame, while Courtney and I were campaigning, we had come up with like the idea of wanting to do a long form documentary style video that was about the ball python hobby, and we felt that the 15 Minutes of Lame competition was perfect for the plot. And when we tell Chris the first time, he's just like, why nobody wants to watch that. But we convinced him, and it was, so we competed. We ended up winning, which, again, a little bit of a spoiler for the documentary, but we ended up winning. So then all throughout 2022, like, when did we come up and see you guys in New York? February?
I think in February. Yeah.
Yeah. All throughout 2022, Courtney and I traveled pretty much across the country interviewing Chris, Donato, Brian, up in New York City. We went down to Justin's and we interviewed them down there. We had actually went to Knoxville when we did.
Knoxville, yeah.
Yeah. Knoxville, Tennessee. We had interviewed Chris and Shane there. Shane came down to us a separate time to get more footage. We went up to North Carolina for Antoine, and huge shout out to Antoine, by the way, because he had just literally traveled across the entire country. Like, I just really appreciate him like squeezing in that, because that's like huge life change, and his parts are amazing in the documentary. Anyways, so we do all this stuff. We're traveling all around the country, interviewing people, and then editing the video, putting it all together, and here it is. And I'm so freaking stoked for it to come out.
Yeah, I mean, I already saw a preview of it. It was fucking great. You guys are gonna be blown away. I mean, this looks like this isn't just a vlog that got extended to an hour and a half. I mean, this looks like a professional documentary, and it more important is the storytelling behind it. The storytelling behind it is a great way, and I think a lot of the people that already ran will relate to it. I think a lot of people that are running now are going to relate to it, and I think a lot of just the general audience is going to relate to it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, really quick, just so you guys know, voting is open now for this year's contenders, and the contenders are in the description. All you got to do is head over to Snakes and a Fat Man. You go over to the 15 minutes button right here, and then boom, you could vote. So,
all right.
People are fucking voting. We got Brandon Nixon, Holly, Jake Hole, Chris Sunley, Terrence Keys, Troy Woodruff, Whitney and Jason Epps, Rick Allen, Ray Becker, Justin Brill, Gerald Crabtree. I forgot Gerald in all the promotional media, so I'm glad.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Paul from fucking Large Marge, Ann Ring, Danny and Taylor Gunder. Fucking, they look like they're in the lead right now with 29%. Matt O'Malley, Danny and Renee Rocha, Jared and Allison Wood, and Brett Towers over at Jersey Guys Balls. Now, you guys, as you know, again, don't mean to spoil it in the documentary, but you guys won last year. What was the most fun part for you guys?
100% the campaigning. Like, winning was really fun. That was pretty cool. But honestly, it was making the reels, like doing the kind of like comedy style stuff, which wasn't something that we'd ever really done before, at least not with like Leviathan Snakes. And it was such a blast. And it let us just interact with so many awesome people in the community. Like, huge shout out to people who ran last year, like Jana King, Reggie, Andrew, Brian, Bree from Smoky Mountain Balls. There were amazing people that, even though we were competing against each other last year, I feel like that we all like really like jived, and it was like good, friendly competition, and that everybody worked together to make the contest more than it had been. Not that it was awesome beforehand, but it's like each year it's growing.
Yeah, and the thing I'm worried about this year is, now this is how it works. 25% is going to be decided online, okay? And if you win the popular vote, nobody could take that away from you, okay? And it really means that you put a lot of work into campaigning. Now, 25% is also going to be decided by you and Courtney.
Yep.
25% is going to be decided by Shane, and 20% is going to be decided by Donato of Blind Mice Reptiles. Now, a lot of people say, well, if you have 3 judges and an online vote, there could potentially be a tie, right? And if there is a tie, Antoine is going to decide the tie. So the one thing I'm worried about this year with all the reels is it's not just about making the reels, okay? Yep. I mean, you have to be doing important shit and innovative shit. Mm-hmm. You can't just make a funny reel and think that you're going to win. It doesn't hurt, okay? But you have to at least be producing a higher level of stuff, right? I mean, that probably makes sense, but a lot of people, I don't want them to get trapped in the I have to do something funny, because most people who aren't funny that try to be funny, it just comes off like so bad. Like if you saw a lot of Steven's campaigns, he is not the funny one in that couple. So Courtney is clearly the funny one. So now, what would you say that you want to see from some people this year?
So besides like just their campaign and stuff, we want, one of the biggest things that we, or at least I'm looking for, is somebody that if they win the title, they become 2023 15 Minutes of Lame champion, that they in the future are going to be doing amazing stuff. And this doesn't mean that you have to have like the most expensive animals or invested $1 million into your business, but we don't want it to be that somebody takes the title, they become the champion, and by July they're out of the hobby. Like, we don't want that. Like, that right. would, in my opinion, it would lessen the prestige of the contest and of the title when you have people like Shane from Small Town Exotics, who won the first year, and Antoine of High Desert Pythons, and hopefully like people think of us like at least at some point they think of us like that. Right. And we want the contest to keep building, and for people to go back in the future, maybe 5-10 years from now, and they can see all of the winners, all of the people who participated in the contest, and it's like a who's who of like the next generation of the reptile hobby.
Right. Because the bottom line is, and is the hard truth that I know that a lot of ball python people don't want to hear, is that 85% of you guys are one personal problem away from just selling your entire collection, whether it's divorce, whether it's moving, whether it's getting a new job, and people just coming in don't understand that. I mean, that's really the bottom line. And the people that do kind of persevere through all that, are the ones that are going to be here. Look at Shane; he's blood in, blood out. That's the way it goes, man. Mm-hmm. So, one of the questions I had for you after I saw this documentary is, if you guys didn't win, would this documentary still have been made?
So realistically, I wanted to do a documentary. I've been wanting to do one for a while. And we had talked about this in other lives about how I just couldn't figure out what the plot would be. If we hadn't won, given how hard that we worked and we had our like reels come up, which I still feel like are funny, regardless, even if you don't win, there's still value in campaigning. The only thing that would have changed is that in the climax, when it's going through the reveal, it would have revealed that we lost. And I also feel like that would have been a good story. Like, it would have been not like hell yeah, we won, but it would have been really cool. If we had lost, we probably would have still included ourselves in it, but we would have made sure to get the winner of whoever won last year. If we had lost, like, they would have a part in it too. So that way it wouldn't solely be kind of like focused on us, which is not really. I don't really know who it, in your opinion, because you've seen it. Who do you feel like are like the main characters? Because it's a story about you and about what you've done and what you've built up. It's also kind of a story about like Courtney and I, or Courtney with the 15 Minutes of Lame, Justin and Donato, and so many people provide all the context for it. Who is, or is it equal?
I think it was equal until the first time Courtney came on the screen. and then it was just about you guys running and doing all the competition, showing showing what other people were doing to compete also, because that was a big deal. Because you don't have to win this thing in order to get a name jump, as far as recognition goes. Because I mean, look at Corey Martin. Corey Martin didn't win. I'd be goddamned if fucking nobody knows who Corey Martin is right now. Okay. I'd be damned if I didn't, think that people didn't know who Jeremy Baud was. Like all these huge people that have grown out of it. And I'm not saying being in the competition, helped them do it, but you could definitely tell during all of their years competing that they were the people that were gonna outwit, what's it, Survivor, outlast, and out whatever the majority of people, because you could tell who wants to work and who doesn't want to work, by the time this competition starts. And a week into it, if people aren't doing shit to try and win, they either think that they're already too big, to try and win this, or they just don't want to put in the work. Because I think Justin even says at one point in the movie that he had to become the guy he is now. He wasn't born the guy he is now. And if you don't want to put in the work, that that shows your mentality towards your own business, right? I mean, does that make sense at all?
Oh, 100%. 100%. And like a lot of time, like when the contest is going on, a very common question people gave us or asked us who weren't really part of the reptile hobby was like, why do you want to be the lamest? Like, that doesn't make any sense. And one, it's a joke. But beyond that, it's like, what is the prize for winning 15 minutes of lame? And realistically, there's not like a tangible, like,
more time with me,
Yeah. I do believe that there is a level of like prestige and marketing value to winning the contest, but not even going off of that. If you can push yourself outside your comfort zone, push yourself out there into the hobby and get people to know you, I think that is one of the most important elements of, honestly, like any kind of business sales, is not just like throwing up a random product that essentially anybody could buy from anywhere. And it's like, here's why you should buy from me: because you like me, because you know me, because you relate to me, all of those different things. And I think that the contest helps do that. It helps develop that.
Yeah. And I think it also kind of gives people a little bit of a nudge to kind of like go further. Because I remember when the band that I was in got our CDs into Best Buy, right? Like we were thrilled. But our manager was like, what the fuck are you so happy about? You're now in a sea of 10,000, other musicians, and people have to go in there to specifically find you, with the intent to specifically find you. And I think that that's the way it is with a lot of the breeders. Like, I don't think you guys know how many of you there are. Okay. I mean, there are... There gotta be hundreds of thousands, or at least over 100,000 already, ball python breeders in the country. Now, what necessarily, describes a breeder? I mean, I think that you have to have had one clutch, okay? Yeah. And I've had some people that haven't had any clutches on, in the past, but in the year that passed, they've had clutches. Okay, they've hatched a bunch of clutches. So it's you have to know how to fucking take care of fucking eggs in an incubator. I mean, because this is not a hard hobby to get into. You know, if you have a little bit of money and a little bit of common sense, you know, within 5 years you can make money. But also, people don't know how long 5 years is. You know, I joke around about them not knowing how long 2 years is. You know, but 5 years, I mean, it's a long time. It's more competitive than owning a restaurant, I would
Oh,
say.
100%. Like, so this is personal, like anecdote for us. So it's not saying this applies to everybody, but like Courtney and I, we are in our 4th season breeding ball pythons right now. And when we very first got in, we got in like right as COVID was kicking off and snakes are flying off the shelves and all of that different things. And I remember at the time we were like, oh yeah, one of us will be able to go full time in like 3 to 5 years. That's not even on the horizon for us anymore. Like, and it's just, it's not that like I do feel like we do a good job at sales and stuff like that, but it is so much harder, so much more involved and more risk involved than we initially thought when we got in. I think everybody goes through it. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. Like you come in with certain expectations, and then when you get the experience, you get a better idea of what it's going to take. And I feel like that's one of the elements that I am really proud about of the documentary as well. The plot is 15 minutes of lame and all that. A lot of the insight that Chris gives, that Justin gives, that Donato gives, that Brian gives, that Shane and Antoine, it is all about the challenges that new breeders face. And like, it's not easy. And essentially like not coming into it thinking you're going to make it rich. Like,
Right. Yeah. That's yeah. They say like the only way to become a millionaire selling ball pythons is to start off with 2 million, spend 1 million, and then you still have 1 million left when that business fails, right? Like, but I think that also that's an important part is in this documentary between me, Justin, Donato, um, Samson, even Brian. I mean, there's over 100 years of experience right there. You know that you know we're not saying don't get into the fucking ball python game. You know, if you want to get into it for the right reasons, but get into it because you still think it's a little fun.
yeah.
You know, like if you just don't care about this shit, there is no way you know, if you're coming into this thing for the money, know that it's a 3 to 5 year plan before you make $1. And for 3 to 5 years, it's constant money out the fucking window, right? I mean, because even people that haven't done a show but have been doing this for 3 years, they got to go out and spend, you know, 2 or 3 grand on show stuff.
Mhm.
You know, and the show stuff is always advancing as far as tech goes, which means that the show stuff always gets more expensive, you know. So it is a little bit, you know, it is a little bit of an investment if you're going to get into this. Okay.
Mhm.
Um,
Also, huge shout out to the chat. You guys are showing up. Like I don't know what it's at exactly right now, but between both of them, we were at like 90 or something like that not too
yeah.
long ago. Like,
Yeah.
so
This is well, I can't be saying that this is the biggest and most popular new breeder competition in the hobby and people not show up. You know, like that would make me feel like a fucking asshole, you know.
no,
So I can't be doing that. But and there's a ton of big shots here.
mhm,
You know, like Jeremy Board, like Brian, who's in the fucking movie. You know,
mhm.
5 years is 3 years more than two. It's not that difficult. Yeah, all right, you fucking dick. Are you writing this while you're driving? Because he's 5 hours away from me, and he only left here about 3 hours ago. Um, now, what's one of the ways that you guys felt that you did things because you guys actually collaborated with a bunch of other contestants,
Oh yeah.
and the nice thing was like it was competitive but fun.
Mhm.
There wasn't like a mean-spirited, you
Yep.
know, like this is why what's his name's mother is a whore. You know, like there wasn't any shit like that. Like fucking it really you know kind of made the thing fun.
Mhm.
And what did you guys do to kind of make it more of a fun thing?
So I feel like that when we were going, like when we were going for it, we were campaigning and all that stuff. There were a lot of other people who really wanted it and were doing a lot of work to go for it too. But like you said, nobody was being malicious. It was almost like a camaraderie kind of thing. Like, I felt like that by doing the contest, we became closer friends with a lot of the other people in the contest. And some of them we didn't even know before. So when we started doing collabs, like, partly for that was when we started doing the reels, there wasn't really any. I think we started the reels before anybody started doing the reels, at least in our
Yeah,
year.
yeah, you did.
And so that was like part of it, is like we want to do something that's different and like kind of make ourselves stand out. And then whenever we did a reel, when like we'd be playing it out, Courtney specifically wanted the reel to be easy enough to remember. So that way you could say like, oh, Donato's ring light fund. And that alone, people knew what reel we did, what we were talking about. Or her replacing all the judges or the pictures in our house with pictures of the judges. Like that was another one. And when we started doing the collaborative reels, part of that was other people started doing amazing reels that were really, really funny. So we figured that if we started collabing with people, that would be another way to make ourselves stand out, because not only would we have been the first person to start doing the reels, now we were the first people to start like getting joint efforts between different contestants. So that way it wouldn't just be like, oh, did you see Steven and Courtney's newest reel? It'd be like, did you see the one that they did with Andrew where they kidnapped Andrew and all of that stuff? Like,
Yeah, I mean that was one of the funnest parts of it. You know, like going down to Knoxville and doing the kidnapping me and Shane reel.
oh yeah.
It was just a lot of fun, man. It was just you know, and the thing is that again, I can't stress enough, if you're not having fun doing it, then don't do it, because whether you think so or not, people could tell.
Yeah.
You know, and people aren't as dumb as they fucking look, you know. So people could tell if it's a good time or not. So fucking now I'm saying that, you know, try to make it all fun and all that, but every year there's been some fucking dickhead that has, you know, stepped in and made it kind of not fun. You know, like the first year there was a guy trying to buy votes by giving away like a
$5,000
hurricane clown. The second year there was somebody who uh who was talking shit and cheated. Yeah, they wrote a bot, you know, to vote for, you know, people more than can. And listen, this is just meant to be a fun thing. You could vote every 24 hours. Now, how much fairer do you want it to be? You know, like fucking, but you know, yeah, dickheads that wrote, you know, bots that voted, you know, 300 times, you know, a day. And now with the web company that I'm using for the polling this year, they're just negating anytime a vote comes in from Pakistan or fucking Ukraine or Czechoslovakia, you know. So it's going to be a lot more fair this year, and hopefully, you know, that shit won't happen again. Also, we reduced the time of the contest this year from 6 weeks to 3.5, right? So so hopefully that'll, you know, that'll take away from some of that shit too. Now, what's your advice on people that are in the running this year but don't want to run?
That don't want to run. I've said this on a lot of them. I think that it is a huge missed opportunity if you don't want to run. And I'm not saying that it's like if you don't want to run, like maybe you're uncomfortable, but if it is there, you have nothing to lose and so much to gain from running. And even if you're like, well, I can't do reels, I don't really know how, or I feel uncomfortable, it is the nudge that I feel like a lot of people in the ball python hobby need in order to put themselves out and develop skill sets that are absolutely critical for the success of your business. And if people say that they like this is their passion, like this is their dream, this is what they want to do, at least for me, if I really want something, I'm going to put everything I possibly have into trying to make that as successful as possible. And if it's simply something like, well, I work full time and by the time I get home, I'm exhausted and I don't have enough time to put up a 30-second reel. I don't really believe that, because I work full time and I work an hour away from that house. And if I can do it on top of like all of the other stuff, anybody can do it. It might not be good at first, but you gotta practice and get better.
Right. Well, the thing is that even the not good reels were pretty funny. Okay. So I do have to say that. But it's not 10 years ago, man. 10 years ago, you could have put out a pretty snake, threw it up on World of Ball Pythons, and then people would have contacted you. If you don't, or even Instagram, right? You put a snake up on Instagram, people would have contacted you. Right now, if you just do that and don't do any of the other social media parts of it, you're not going to survive. Like in a world where you have Steven and Courtney putting out reels every week, showing off their animals, and not being in the contest this year. Why would you watch, somebody who's putting out, just the basic bare minimum, when you could watch somebody like Steven and Courtney, where you go to their YouTube page and it's like a one-stop shop as far as education goes, as far as sales go, as far as, showing off the animals go, how to light your fucking animal, which people still have no idea, how to light their animal, because I've been on Morph Market and I see what you guys put up, and it's fucking shit, man. So, so now moving forward, do you think that the inclusion of judges instead of just a popular vote is a good idea or a better idea than what it used to be?
Oh yeah, I think it's so, like, one, we're biased on it because we won because of the judges.
Right.
Throwing that out there. But beyond even that, I think that with the popular vote, if you are a small account, let's say you have 300 followers, and you come into the contest and you're like, I'm nobody. Nobody knows who I am. There's no way that I can win, because there are other people in the contest who might have 10, 20, 30, even 50,000 followers, excuse me. It can be discouraging, and it can make you not want to run at all if it's based solely on the popular vote, because you feel like you're at such a huge disadvantage. And truthfully, I do feel like that there is a huge advantage to having built up an audience before the contest, but that doesn't mean that you can't win. So with the judges can vote for whoever they want for whatever reasons they want, but I feel like that everybody kind of does a similar type of thing, and that they're not just voting off of a popularity contest. The judges, for the most part, are voting for who they think will have a good interview, like full interview, because that's one of the main things with Chris for the prize and everything. Beyond that, it is who is going to bring prestige and credit and increase the visibility of the contest going forward, and isn't just going to get out in a couple years. And then the last one is the judges can vote for people, like I said, for whatever they want. So maybe there was somebody who was newer, who didn't really have as big of a platform, versus somebody else who might have 30,000 followers, but the newer person put in way more work in the campaign. They were funnier, more memorable, and that you could tell that they wanted it more. It's very likely the judges will recognize that and be like, even though this person didn't get as many popular votes, they still get my judge vote. And really, you only need 2 judge votes to win. That's what happened with us.
Right. Yeah, because I don't want to spoil the documentary, but you guys did not win the popular vote. I mean, you guys were like probably 4th in the popular vote. So when we announced the popular vote first, when you found out that it was Jana who won, were you just thinking there's no way we're going to win this now, or?
No, so before the vote had, like, the results had come out, like a couple weeks beforehand, Jana and Reggie, like when the contest first started, we pulled out in front, and we were pretty much in front for maybe like the first week or two. And then Jana and Reggie caught back up, and then they started pulling out like further and further away from us. And we realized, like, because you couldn't see like how many people had voted, but you could see like how much percentage each person had. And given how many people we knew were saying that, like, they'd say like, oh, just voted for you, or like friends and family members who were voting for us, we knew that if we were getting like 100 to 200 votes a day roughly, and they were still increasing their lead on us, that they had to be getting like 200 to 300 votes a day. And we're like, I don't know what more we can do to start getting votes. So when that happened, we didn't give up on the popular vote, because we still drove people to vote for us. We wanted to stay relevant, but 100%, like, we switched our strategy to be like, let's try everything we can to appeal to the judges. So when Jana ended up winning the popular vote, we knew that Jana and Reggie were like significantly ahead of us, and we weren't expecting to win the popular vote. We didn't know who was going to win it, but we knew one of them was going to.
Right, yeah, because they killed it. as far as the popular vote. And right now, even though he didn't win, Reggie is still like a giant fucking
Mhm.
powerhouse in the hobby. Like
Oh yeah.
everybody knows. I mean, everybody knew who Reggie was before
Mhm.
the contest, but fucking after the contest with some of the reels that he put out,
Mhm.
and I think if you if you would ask Reggie today, even though he didn't win, he's probably still still is glad that he did all the reels and everything.
Mhm.
So overall, 75% for you guys, 25% for the online. But if you win the popular vote, it is much
Oh
easier
yeah.
to think, I definitely have a shot at winning this. Like Brian was just saying from Heathen Hatchery, um, he had 500 followers and he still came in like third or fourth, right,
Mhm.
with the popular vote. And that's, I mean, we had 14,000 people or 14,000 votes, last year. So it was a ton of fucking votes. And Brian, man, I remember that video where he did a backflip and it was exhausted, like after the one backflip.
Had a hard
And
time.
I mean, that's the kind of fun everybody should be having with this. Um,
Mhm.
Again, I'm not going to say that you're going to win this and get to the level of Shane, Antoine, Leviathan, but it certainly doesn't hurt. Fucking winning this and fucking banging out a bunch of funny reels, but also people could show off what they're producing
Oh yeah.
because if you're producing pastel Enchi clowns, odds are you're not going to win this. Okay, no matter how good your reels are. Okay, because the judges will be like, well, they don't, they're not doing anything. Okay,
Mhm.
they're doing shit that everybody in the hobby could literally just buy into for under $1,000, right? Like,
Mhm.
um, what do you think the biggest mistakes are now of new people coming into the hobby?
New people coming in. So I think that right now, 2023, people coming in, prices are amazing. Like, so you can get so many amazing, beautiful, really, really powerful animals for a very, very inexpensive price. And I've been feeling it myself. I think that it is dangerous because you will constantly see something that is such a good deal that you can't pass it up. And what will end up happening is that if you're not careful and you're new and you're coming into the hobby, you can very, very quickly overextend yourself. You buy too many animals that by the time they actually start having babies, you're completely overwhelmed and you don't have the infrastructure to care for those babies. You don't have the presence to sell the babies, and then you get crushed by feeding costs. That's one, is that your stuff is almost too cheap, so then it makes it too easy to buy things and get in over your head. And
Right.
beyond just the animal aspect, it's addictive. Like buying snakes is addictive. You get like a dopamine rush for it. And when you start, if you're new and you keep seeing a good deal and a good deal and a good deal, and you start putting stuff on credit cards and you're getting like those 30% interest rates a month, those are huge danger signs that you are getting in over your head. And it's just that's I would say the really good prices are a danger because it's too easy to go crazy.
Yeah, it's kind of like when your wife comes home with a Gucci purse and she's like, I couldn't afford not to buy it.
Yeah, it was half
You,
off.
you
Yeah.
know, it was half off, right? Exactly. So that's really the danger that a lot of people are falling into. Also, and this may be bias. Okay, I'm going to tell you that that's going to be biased before I even tell you what it is. But the constant amount of podcasts with people sucking each other's dicks and they haven't even done anything yet. Like and that false hope, to where you make a guy who's putting together a pastel Enchi clown compared to a guy like Nixon who's running in the
Oh, yeah.
contest, like
Mhm.
fucking, you just like Nixon is probably looking at these guys going, yeah, they're nice people, but they're putting out junk that wasn't popular 2 years ago or whatever.
Mhm.
Um, because the main thing here is no matter what, you have to stay ahead, right?
Mhm.
And you can't really stay ahead with just two really good animals. You
Yeah.
have to have multiple sets of good animals, and even then, it's a fucking gamble, right?
Oh,
Because
yeah.
you never know what you're gonna get.
Hmm.
You know, like imagine if you guys did the documentary on your Sunset Project,
Yeah.
and you wasted 3 years of hoping,
Yeah.
you know, that,
Yeah.
that you would catch a sunset. You know,
Hmm.
um, I just think that that's probably a story that needs to be told, you
Hmm.
know, in one way or another, because people have to know. You know, you could spend 8 grand on a fucking snake, and next year that shit could be selling for $1,500, and you'll
We
never get money back that way.
we bought, like, this happened to us. We bought a snake. I think we paid $4,500 for him. He was a male. He was like had a little bit of size, but not quite breeder size. And he gets up to like size, doesn't produce any clutches his first year. They just wouldn't lock. And by the time that his second year around, we were able to produce clutches from him. By that point, the exact same animal was $1,000. Like,
Right, right.
before we could produce anything from him, like, we were able to make our money back and like recoup it and all that stuff. But that's hard when you see that the animal that you bought, the exact same animal, by the time you're able to produce babies, is worth 25% what you paid for it. It's hard. So you can that we've only had that happen to us once. Other ones we got much, much luckier on. But if you put everything you can into a project like that, and you grow the babies up for 2 or 3 years, and then you're ready to start making babies, and you're like, whoa, I'm not going to be able, if I hit great odds, I might be able to pay off this male in 3 clutches. Like, that's hard.
Right, right.
Like, like,
That's the gamble. And you know, also a lot of the older people, I think, are into the gamble because they think that's part of the fun that attracted them to the hobby anyway, right? But like, do you think that the genetic testing is taken away from the fun of the hobby, or do you think it's a good thing? I'm not saying taken away from
yeah,
the hobby, because
yeah,
obviously it's a
yeah.
good thing.
Oh, yeah,
You know, not waste 3 years on an animal that isn't what you think it is. Okay. But as far as taking away the fun of it, do you think that it's done that, you know, to any point?
So, I think we don't have nearly as much experience, especially with proving out possets through breeding, as you did, because we got in 2020. So
Right.
I think that we had 2 animals that we bred to prove out possets, and both times we failed on it. Like, they didn't prove out, so that didn't feel super good. But I would say that there is a level, like when we get back a positive result, like when we do a shed test with RGI and they come back and it's heterozygous. Like, we have a Cypress honey het sunset 66% het clown female, sent her shed in, came back as het clown, and I was stoked. I was like, yeah, I'm ready to go. Now, granted, we would have kept her and we would have bred her into the Sunset Clown project when she was up to size, regardless, because we had her. And at that point, if she had proved out by like a sunset clown pipping out of the egg, I can't even imagine how that would have felt.
Right,
Like,
right,
so
exactly.
I love shed testing, and I will we're 100% down for shed testing. We shed test everything. But I can see, like, the people who were able to experience proving out amazing possets through breeding. I bet the feeling of getting a positive result is good, but not nearly as close to that level of good.
All right, all right. Listen, this is the problem with the fucking hobby, okay? All right. Where do we go to vote for Brandon? I don't know. Maybe the giant address at the bottom of the fucking screen. Holy shit. All right. This guy not going to be on 15 minutes next year. Okay. It's just not going to happen. Fucking A. Are you shitting me?
I don't know if you saw it earlier. It's been a while because I was going to say it earlier, but Mark from 403 Fauna he had said something about, like, he's got to prepare for whenever he's asked. So at some point, we'll talk to you. We'll see. If
Yeah.
we can get him on there.
Well, that's the whole thing. And I think after 4 years of doing it, I think that people have to know by now. Do not call me or message me and ask me to be on, because you will never get on that way. You know, I think that just reeks of desperation, and that you're a bitch if you're actually trying to get on. The only way that people get on is through me hearing them hearing about them from other people. You know, like obviously, you know, if you guys recommend somebody, or Shane or Antoine or Donato recommends somebody, that I'm going to ask them to come on. But there are people out there who I have asked, and they just thought that they were too good for the fucking contest, right? And they're like, no, I got a lot more than 15 minutes of shit to say, and you know, I'm gonna wait it out, because in 2 years you're gonna ask me to be on your show on a main spot anyway, and that is definitely not the way to hit it either, because fucking I just think you're an arrogant piece of shit that's probably gonna be gone in a year, you know, because that's kind of what I've seen happen. You know, like I think that you've been in the hobby long enough where when you're talking to somebody within 3 minutes, you know
Yeah,
whether they're going to be around in 5 years. You know.
I agree. And I've heard you say this on other ones, and I'm going to try to quick on this because it's 8:52 right now.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think anybody, if you saw a stranger playing the piano in 5 seconds, you could figure out, are they just now learning how to play the piano, or are they like a master musician?
Right.
And I think that it's a similar kind of thing with ball pythons. It might not be as easy for the general public to pick out whether or not somebody knows what they're doing, but anybody with any experience can know within 5 minutes of talking to somebody if they're like, oh, this is somebody who's new and is still learning things, or this is somebody who's dialed in. They might be dialed in to projects that aren't our favorite projects, but you still know, like, oh, they know what they're doing. Like,
yeah. If a dude comes up to me and is like, hey, I spent 40 grand on this shit in the last year, I just think, man, I don't necessarily think I would have did that if I was you. You know, like you just wasted 40 grand, you know. Yeah. But on that note, we're gonna head out because we want everybody to get ready for the ball python documentary. Again, watch it on both channels. We don't care. We just want you to see it. Yep. And we're going to pick 10 people from the chat and see, you know, let them know that we'll send them autographed poster and DVD of the movie. I want to thank everybody that came in here because I mean it was definitely popping tonight. Mm-hmm. And listen, we love all you guys, even the guy that I just made fun of. Okay, even him. I love you, man. It's all good. I may talk shit about you, but you know, deep down, I still love you. Yeah, you know, you only make fun of the people that you love. Everybody, stay here. Go to fucking Leviathan's channel. Premiere of 15 minutes of ball python documentary is happening in 6 minutes. Okay, fucking 6 minutes. Dougie Fresh, you're on. Boom. The only guy in the chat that's going to get that is Brian from Samson. Okay, the only guy. All right. So, guys, watch the movie. Let us know what you think. Make sure you comment on the movie. That really helps the algorithm. And it's just a fucking good time. So I think that you guys are really gonna like it. So
take a
Steven,
picture.
thank you.
Take a picture of you watching it. While you're watching it, post it to Instagram. Tag us. Like, we're stoked for this. Yeah,
we're definitely gonna. You know, yeah, man. This is a big deal. It's a big deal, and not because it's an hour and a half commercial for me. You know, fucking that's. It's a big deal otherwise. But thank you so much for coming and hanging out. I know we promised you Courtney too, but I'm guessing that Courtney is busy with the baby.
Yeah, she was getting Ellie down. So
yeah, okay. So all right, let's see, Steven. Fucking thank you so much for everything, man. Like fucking really. Like this was a big deal for me, and you know, I don't think anybody else would have did shit like this. So you know, I appreciate you in a big way.
I'm still all right. Courtney's here.
Oh, there you go.
Be here. Nobody told me.
Oh, come on, Courtney. You couldn't have at least did your hair over a little bit for your one little.
I'm actually kind of sitting this way so you don't see my mullet and my pajamas.
Jesus, fucking.
Are y'all still live?
Yeah, we're still live.
This is your front party in the back, huh? Okay.
All right.
All right, guys, take it easy. Premiere of the 15 minutes of ball python documentary starting now, so you might have to reload the page. I don't know, but you probably got a notification. All right, guys, take it easy. And Steven, thank you, brother.
Yep.